Hi, welcome to this recording. So, this recording is about using the portal and applying for the extended hours funding for school nurseries. So, if you're a school nursery, this will go through how to submit your funding claims for your extended hours children in the nursery. So, I'm just going to open up the portal for you. So, we'll have a look at that. So, again, here's the home page. Worth noting, so children that are attending school nurseries, so you can start your funding claim from when they start at your setting, but do make sure or talk to the parents if they have been attending a private setting, a nursery, or a childminder within that term, because that provider will also be able to claim for the weeks that they attended with them. So, for example, if you have a child that's beginning with you at the end of September and they were at a childminder for the first 3 weeks of the term, childminder will claim for 3 weeks. So that means that you will only have 10 weeks left in the autumn term that you can claim for. So keep that in mind with your starters and when you're talking to parents about start dates and the funding that's available. So this is the home page. We were going to funding, click on that. We're still in the summer term. I'm going to just change that so we can go back. So we can see this is under actuals. You're choosing the summer term. You're doing the fee funding. So this is the free entitlement for 3 and 4-year-olds. This is a child that was carried over from the previous term. So if they were with you the previous term, you will get their name, their address, any details that you put in for previous claims, and you can just add to them. If you've got a new child, you will add their details here. Okay, but this is a 30-hour child. So we're going to use our existing child. Go across the tabs on the top. We've got the child details. Again, do you tick if you have actually checked their date of birth? Their information's all correct. So again, if it was a new child, you'd be putting in this information. For the extended hours, this is the additional 15 hours. So we call them 30 hours children because they've got the universal funding already. And because the parents are working, they have a code. They are entitled to claim the additional 15 hours. You will need to put the parents' details in, their national insurance number, and that they have consent to do the 30 hours. So you need to pop that information in there. Then you go on to the funding details. So again, so this child's at your school. This is the summer term here. So you should change the default term date. So that's the funding term, starts 1st of April, lasts until the 31st of August. But what we want is for you to put in the actual dates that the child is with you. So if your term started on the 3rd of April, you'd put that. It's term time only, so you might be ending on the 21st of July. And you're going to claim for 13 weeks. So your summer term is 13 weeks, autumn term 13 weeks, spring term 12 weeks. There's present during census box. Now, chances are this child was there during census or they had count, but that's going to be done on your school census. The same as all the other children attending school, all the children accessing only the 15 hours universal. So on our form, you leave that blank because we don't want to count the same child twice because you're already counting them in your school census. So leave that there. The same with your Disability Access Fund. If you're claiming them through your school funding, you would leave that as well. You wouldn't claim for them again. Stretch entitlement is something that's done at can be done at private settings. School settings don't tend to have a stretched entitlement, so you can leave that there as well. The next tab is the universal hours. Now, this child will be attending your school for the universal hours. However, the portal you're only claiming the extended hours. You're doing the universal hours for this child through your school's finance, the same as you're doing for all the other children attending the nursery and only attending the universal hours. So those children that are accessing the additional 15 hours, you're going to leave the universal hours at 0. Your extended hours are going to be up to 15 hours. Going to put the eligibility code in here and then tick this box and it'll do the eligibility check. If there's an issue, it will highlight it for you. If it tells you, might tell you that it's not valid for this period, so then you would double check the code, the start dates, and the end dates. And we'll go over that again in a minute, the start dates, the end dates, and what the grace period is. So tick here what days they've attended and if they're doing any additional hours. So schools, sometimes they might be paying for an additional hour at the end of the day because the funding doesn't quite cover the school day. So maybe they're doing an extra 5 hours a week. All right. If you have any documents, you can add them or any notes that you need us to know when we're processing the claim. Okay. So that's how it works with schools. Big difference is you don't tick the census box. You're always leaving the universal hours blank and only claiming the extended hours. If you want to check a eligibility code, you can use the eligibility checker that's here on the top. And you put in the information to check that. That'll give you a start date, an end date, and the grace period. So for any given term, the start date needs to be before the beginning of term, the end date, any date after the beginning of term. And if the child has been with you a previous term accessing the extended hours funding, you can continue to use the code that's in their grace period. If the child's new to you, you will not be able to use the grace period. So I hope that covers that. So once you've put in all this information, you do press save. And then you will submit them. So I'm just going to go back to the summary. I'm going to go change. So once you've claimed and you've saved it, the information will be here. And when you've done all the children, you've added them, you will then press send claim. All right. If you ever need to delete a child, you press the X to request to delete it. So say in September you come and all the children have been carried over from the summer term and most of them are no longer attending because it's a new year, you would just go through and delete those. And so those would get rid of them and you would add your new children. So I hope that covers some of the questions around extended hours for schools. Again, if you have any questions or run into any problems, you can just contact us and we will guide you through those. Okay, take care.